Bengaluru is the only city where they measure distance in units of time.
I think traffic is not as bad as it's perceived to be. Certainly, we can do much better. There's a road rage incident. I think first people don't dial 112, they put it on Twitter. The creatives are meant to ensure that the person reads it and hopefully follow it. So if you're not there, you're going to miss out on it. And that's how you connect with public.
How much of AI is used in traffic management system in Bengaluru?
Since Bangalore is like the tech capital of India and AI has been made accessible to us. We have been able to implement ambulance tracking through an app called ePath, which is part of our plan.
Can a fully autonomous vehicle drive through Bengaluru roads? Like say a level 5 autonomous?
Do you require a level 5 vehicle is my question. Pedestrian deaths in certain high pedestrian death areas have come down to zero almost.
Do you use ChatGPT?
I use it in a different way. Like, for example, I ask the question like,
Hello and welcome to Tech Talks. I'm Madhana Nair, Senior Tech Journalist at AIM Media House. Today I'm at the Traffic Management Center and I have with me the Joint Commissioner of Police, Bangalore Traffic, IPS Officer M.N. Anucheth. Hello sir, welcome to Tech Talks.
thank you.
How are you doing today, sir?
It's a busy day as usual.
So I would like to just jump directly into the traffic scene.
Sure.
And so despite having traffic in multiple cities, it's not just Bengaluru.
Right.
But even then, Bengaluru is the only city where they measure distance in units of time. Why is that?
I don't know. I think that's how the joke goes, right? Yeah. But I think it's very unfair to look down upon Bangalore. I think Bangalore unfortunately gets disproportionate amount of criticism as well as applause or accolades. I think traffic is not as bad as it's perceived to be. Certainly we can do much better, but we are trying our best. I think all the agencies in Bangalore are working towards that.
I want to focus on the AI and the tech bit.
Right.
I think Bangalore traffic, it has been in the news a lot for the kind of adoption of tech that's happening. So I want to first understand from you what do you perceive what AI is and how much of AI is used in traffic management system in Bengaluru?
Yeah, I just want to say that since Bangalore is like the tech capital of India and a lot of AI-based startups are there in Bangalore, we have been lucky enough to be able to work with a lot of companies, and AI has been made accessible to us, which otherwise we had to rely on some foreign import or off-the-shelf product, which generally do not work in real-time conditions. So that way the tech adoption has been faster in Bangalore. What we are trying to do here, basically the fundamental roles of traffic police are two. One is traffic management and the other is enforcement. In traffic management, we are looking at signaling, congestion management, ensure that the traffic keeps moving, right? In traffic enforcement, we are trying to enforce the rules and basically what pertains to road safety. Through enforcement, promote good road user behavior. So in both these aspects, we are trying to use technology, particularly since you are asking about AI-based technologies.
Yes.
We are able to use AI in signaling. We are able to use AI in enforcement. Primarily what we are trying to do is in deep learning and computer vision, basically. So we are trying to use where the AI acts like a force multiplier. The philosophy has been so far that we'll use AI as a force multiplier. We'll use AI as a tool to assist and aid human effort rather than replace human effort. To give an example, prior to use of these technologies, in our traffic management center, physically, the people watching the cameras would zoom in, try to take a photo, violation, enter it manually, and book the challan. So it would take about 5 minutes, right? And how many cameras can a person see? He can see one at a time. Now what happens with the use of AI-based cameras, probably at all 50 junctions where it is there, it can take every second it is taking a photo, it's analyzing, giving the output. So our constable at the back end is doing a manual validation. It helps in two ways. One helps in reinforcing the algorithm and help it learn. The other is we ensure it's error free when it goes out to the violator, the common public. So it probably takes about 5 to 6 seconds. So what was 300 seconds now has reduced to 5 seconds to do the violation. So that's how I see AI is in use of AI in traffic.
And you spoke about the traffic management and the enforcement bit.
Right.
Which is more challenging, like when you're implementing AI technology?
Traffic management is far more challenging than enforcement. See, in AI enforcement, what happens is there is a defined set of rules. So, any rule-based equipment or device or algorithm works easier.
Okay.
Whereas in traffic management, because the sheer volume of lack of adherence to rules causes issues like turning ratios. The presumption, for example, if you have a camera, say 500 meters away from the junction, the presumption is that the person on the right lane will take a right turn. Not necessarily so in Indian conditions, right? So then you have to push the camera to the junction. So the time which was, a luxury to you for the 500 meters is not so longer anymore. So you can't do predictive based kind of thing. You have to do in real time. It has to be instantaneous. So I think AI based traffic management is more challenging.
And you spoke about data, right? A lot of real time data and stuff. So would you be able to talk about like what kind of softwares or companies that?
So in traffic management, we are trying to have two levels of use of AI. At the junction level, at the micro level, what we call, we have AI at the signaling. So these signals, basically, we use a proprietary algorithm called COSICOS, developed by Center for Development of Advanced Computing. So basically, it uses cameras at the junctions, counts the vehicles at that junction, and gives the signal time for that particular arm of that junction based on the vehicle density. So technically speaking, if there's no vehicle, the signal should not turn on, right? But since it is edge-based again, and the time taken for the algorithm to work or this thing, probably even when there's no junction vehicle at the junction, it probably takes about 6 to 7 seconds to think. Had we been able to do predictive, say we are able to put the camera 50 meters away, then we know that by the time this vehicle goes out, we can stop it. So, but technically speaking, larger the volume count, more the time signal for signal cycle time for that particular arm. Less the vehicles, less is the time signal, which is happening. So this we have done at about 89 junctions now. The entire project is for 165 junctions. In Bangalore, we currently have about 492 junctions now. So at the end of March of next year, probably about 200 to 210 junctions out of the 500 odd junctions will be AI based signals. At the macro level, we are using something called as ASTRAM. ASTRAM is an acronym for Actionable Intelligence for Sustainable Traffic Management. This is nothing but a big data platform which uses AI to crunch data pertaining to real time. Like we are taking data from map-based services, mobility aggregators, our own CCTV feeds, our own enforcement data. We are taking data from the live road conditions. So we have an app which is used by all our staff where they can, like for example, there is a vehicle off-road. There's a water logging, there's a tree fall, there's a protest, there's a procession, there can be an accident. All these affect real-time traffic flow. So since we have boots on the ground, they take a photo and upload it. So all this data goes into it, and we try and get what is the congestion level, what is the baseline, what is really bad. So we are able to understand how traffic is flowing on a particular day. For example, on the outer ring road, I know exactly how many cars are there at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Right? So there's a baseline for that. If I realize it's above the baseline, I know congestion is going to be more. Very simple thing. I mean, I'm trying to tone it down. So from the car available at 2 o'clock, I know the exits are going to happen post 2 o'clock, evening 5:30. So it's above baseline, then it helps us take some informed decision. So like for example, if it's above certain, say X value, we first stop heavy goods vehicles from flying. We do diversions. If it is a little more, then we have to stagger the exit from the tech park, right? If it's even bad, like if we do congestion prediction for the next 24 hours, 48 hours, we have twice suggested do work from home as well, right? So all this data is based on the data feed and the historical data that we have. So the AI is giving those insights. Then the decision is left to us. So what we've been able to do using ASTRAM is to take data-based decisions. Previously, it was most on gut feeling or ad hoc kind of thing. Now it's data-driven. Other thing that we want to do is that we are able to give real-time updates to public as well as others through APIs to mobility aggregators, to map-based services. We give our data for free. So recently, if you're using any map service, you'll find that vehicle is off-road or accident is there or something like that. Or you're approaching a accident-prone zone. All this data has been shared by us in real time. So one, it helps their routing algorithms make those necessary decisions. For example, I can say road closure is required and immediately upload it.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's instantaneous. So then the rerouting happens. Secondly, we are able to give public that information. Say you're going on a route and you're finding that congestion is more because of this. Say it's a vehicle off-road, probably it'll take half an hour to an hour to remove it. So you probably reroute your route or something like that.
Yeah.
So instantaneously, we're going to share data. So this is the other thing that we are going to do. Third thing for us itself, at every 15 minutes interval, we are getting congestion levels at various parts of Bangalore city. So again, I know that if the congestion is recurring or not recurring. If it's a recurring congestion, primarily it will be at those bottleneck areas. For example, classic example is Hebbard, right? Even there we have baselines. If it's 750 meters, 1000 meters, 1250 meters, then we know it is okay. But if it is gone to 2 kilometers, sometimes it has happened. So you know something is wrong, right? And it helps us predict also. So that every 15 minutes we are getting data at my level for the entire city, at the division level for all the DCPs, at the station level for all the inspectors. The fourth thing we are able to do at the junction level, even the nearest constable gets that alert. So he can immediately go and respond to that. So we have been able to do that. We have been able to implement ambulance tracking through an app called ePath, which is part of Astram. So anybody requiring priority signaling in an emergency, any ambulance can use that app. It just as a simple start, destination and a go. As soon as he clicks go, we get his GPS location here. We understand that he's approaching. A call goes to him to understand which route he's taking. A planned route is also given. Then from our end, we do a priority signaling for that ambulance. So
priority signaling means? Like you give them like a green path to...
Yeah, to go to this thing. In Bangalore, I mean, I must say that it requires about, there are about 3,000 ambulances who do about 4,000 trips. So it's not easy to give for everybody, and it's not required for everybody as well. But certainly when there is head trauma, cardiovascular trauma, strokes, accidents, which require immediate attention, we are able to give.
So that they'll have to inform you that this is the kind of patient we have. So
so they just use the app and say that they require clearance. We start giving clearance. At the back end, we also ask what is the kind of this thing we are able to do. See, you must understand that, because so many ambulances are working and most go to the bigger hospitals, invariably multiple ambulances come at the junction at the same time. So we need to know who to give preference to at that time. Hence this balance and check mechanism that we have. So all this are part of Astram, what we've been able to do. In terms of enforcement, we use AI-based cameras, which again detect basic violations like not wearing a helmet, triple riding, not wearing a seatbelt, stop line violation, red light violations, over speeding. So all these things we are able to detect using AI-based cameras. Automatically they capture, the number plate is captured, they stitch together. A validation is done to find out whether it is true or not. And then it's pushed automatically to the violator using the data available in the database. So this is what we are able to do, where we are using AI as of now.
Got it. So in that validation bit, so right now there is a person who has to still validate to see. Is it possible that in the future we might not even need that? Like AI is just going to...
I think if AI becomes that good, we probably will not require. But our experience has been that even if you have a good high accuracy rate of say 99% accuracy rate or 1% error rate, if I am booking 1 lakh challans a day, right, you can imagine how many unhappy people are there because they've got a wrong violation, right? So at 1 lakh violation, 1,000 people, even at 1% accuracy rate, right, have got a wrong challan, right? And 1,000 into 365. Right, that's like 4-5% of Bangalore's population in a year, which is totally unacceptable at the kind of volumes that we are able to do. So once the error rate goes to say or the accuracy rate goes to 99.9999%, 1 in a million, then I think we can say that okay, AI has taken over. But until then, I think it's going to be we will require. We did try it for the first 6 months. We did do auto pushing. We can do auto push without manual intervention in certain things, like for example, over speeding, because the speed is determined almost very accurately, and we give a 5% buffer. So that way we are able to manually, automatically push speed violations. But everything else, no helmet has come down to very high accuracies now. Our SLAs were at 80%. Today they are probably at about 97-98%, which is very good. But seat belt, other things. There are other issues which happen. For example, if I'm wearing a black shirt and my seat belt is black, if your logic is just looking at this area, then obviously it cannot differentiate. But if you have, say, if you're using IR based camera, then the differentiation in the material you can make out. If your focus area is this, you can make out whether there's a seat belt here or not. So that's how a human eye, this thing, right? So as AI becomes closer to how a human perceives, I think then the accuracy obviously will increase and errors will come down, and then probably we can have an auto push or where AI completely takes over. But I think it's still some time away, even though AI is going in such a high.
And would you say, like, say in the last 2 years or 3 years, there's been more of tech adoption in this whole traffic management scene, or it's been having like a steady progress of, adoption of tech?
No, I mean, not to pat myself on the back, I think Bangalore city has been pioneering in use of technology, right? We used a speed radar gun way back in 1976. It was developed by HAL and DRDO. Right? We used 4 speed radar guns. I mean, that's what, nearly 50 years now. Right?
Yeah.
So we have been adopting tech in our traffic policing. We are not new to it or something. But yes, I think with the advent of AI and it being accessible to us, previously what hampered us was the accessibility to these kind of things and the cost of these technologies. I think with the AI explosion happening in India and homegrown solutions being available to us, I think adoption has become faster. Last couple of years, the adoption has certainly been more. And I think it's the new thing, right? And like I said, if the philosophy is that we are going to see it as a force multiplier, if my signal can work without a constable, I can have the constable doing something else in the junction rather than signaling.
Yeah.
And only use the signal when it's required to, say there's an ambulance movement or a fire tender or a VIP movement, then he can go to a manual switching. Otherwise, he's left free to do the enforcement and other things, right? So I think adoption became faster because the AI technology went leaps and bounds and it was made accessible to us. I think we have been very lucky that we got to see and work with companies and have tailor-made solutions. Way back in 2017, I mean about 7-8 years back, we tried to do a facial recognition system. We had to buy off-the-shelf product. Now that product was trained on Caucasian faces, right? It failed miserably in Indian conditions. We couldn't do facial, the accuracy rates were very poor. That's because the algorithm itself was trained on Caucasian faces. Now, today we have companies working in India on Indian conditions, right? So we can work with them and say that this is what we are looking for, and they tailor make those solutions for us. I think that's why that has accelerated the adoption. That's what that's what is exciting as well, right? There are so many companies here who, I think daily I meet a couple of companies here who want to do something because they also face traffic issues on their way. They have some solutions, and it's kind of cool to listen to them and have their perspective as well. So yeah, that's why I think the adoption has been faster in the last couple of years.
And any companies you can talk about, like say startups, are these from Bangalore itself who you're partnering with and who are helping you?
Yeah, so we are working with a company called Monday Technologies. They are helping us with drones, with AI-based avatars. A lot of things they're working with, right? Like our awareness videos are, my AI avatar is speaking. I'm not speaking at all. I just need to type in what I want. And it will speak in my voice. It looks like me. So that's one thing. In drones, we are trying to find out, is there if I fly a drone, through the image, can we find out if there is a road blockage because vehicles off-road, accident is there, something like that, so that we can immediately respond to it. Because whereas I can see only say about 100 meter, 200 meter, depending on the line of sight, drone can fly 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. So we are trying to do that. Drones are flying now, but can we use again AI to give us better insights? So we are working with that. We are working with a company called IBI. Is again an Indian company. They have developed Astram for us. The ATCS project, we are working with a couple of companies. We are working with Skita, again, which is an Indian company. So we are working with Matrix Technologies, who give us our enforcement, and Videonetics is the OEM that we are using. So it's kind of, so we work with the OEM as well, and we give our feedback. Like for example, like I told you, the seat belt, right? So we realized that if it's the same color as the shirt, it's not detecting. So then they had to go back and rework, and now the model is accurate. So
Okay.
we can work with them.
Yeah.
It's not off the shelf and
More
it's
like customizing and then what we are
yeah,
looking
that's what's
for.
important, because the technology today rapidly progresses and the existing systems become obsolete faster. So if we are able to work with them, upgrade our systems and upgrade our algorithms, I think then we'll be caught up to the latest innovations.
And any in terms of big tech companies, like you have even Google, I think Cisco, all of them are making traffic management systems. So is Bangalore Traffic also leveraging their technology?
So far we haven't had any thought of going for this thing. My personal feeling is that I think we should not be overly reliant on data based uh, systems and overly reliant on a particular vendor or particular company. Like we were trying to use map based data to do our signaling. It is possible if you go to the junction opposite Taj West End. We call it B08. That junction is completely running on map-based data. Even now, it works wonderfully well. But what happens if the data supply is cut off? What do I do?
So there's always
Say
that
the
one.
router there doesn't work.
Mm.
So we can't have everything reliant on this thing. Nothing against big tech companies or this thing. I think um, our experience has been that we can't work with them to give tailor-made solutions to us. I think they're too small.
So you would say like emerging smaller startups would be easier to even work
Yeah, as
with,
long
right?
as it gives you the solution that you want, right? The outcome is what is important. Doesn't matter the size of the company, big, small, whatever it is. As long as the solution gives you the required outcomes, I think that's what we are looking for. And what we find is the younger startups or the smaller or this thing, they have really good talent, and they're really hungry for finding solutions, and they're very eager. So I think that's something really nice to work with and see. Like for example, we are working with Honeywell in the Safe City project. That's I think the one big company that I can speak about that we work with them. Safe Project is a massive project wherein a lot of CCTV cameras and a lot of other things have been done as a part of the women's safety thing, right?
Okay.
As part of the Nirbhaya Fund. So that's one big company that we have been working with, and that with them also it's been really good.
And with AI, so in terms of enforcement only, is there any kind of issues or problems that AI was able to easily solve versus say the old process or the manual process? Like somewhere some particular kind of offense which AI was actually able to identify more easily than say a person.
I wouldn't say where it was
Okay.
better detecting violations. I think it's the speed at which it can detect. It can be ubiquitous at multiple places at the same time.
Okay.
Say you have 10 CCTV cameras. The human eye, what we have been able to see is that you can focus for about 4-5 seconds and you can see about 4 cameras, as opposed to AI based thing which can see all 10 cameras at the same time all the time. So I think the scaling up has been easy. Violation has been detected faster, and it's made our life much more simpler. That's where it is. But I think in terms of identifying a violation better than humans, not yet. Not yet. I find humans are still better at this thing. But it's just that human gets tired. His attention sags. He needs to take a break. He can't be everywhere. So I think that's where I think tech supersedes human effort in that sense.
We are implementing so much of AI powered technology, etc. But say when the infrastructure or roads is kind of not, say you're not fixing those kind of problems. So would you say that AI's full usage will not come into picture?
No, absolutely. That's a given, right? I mean, if you have a road full of potholes, what AI will improve that road? It will not. So AI has certain riders. For example, road condition should be preferably ideal, but at least if it should be motorable. Right? You would want people to obey traffic rules. Now, say you have pedestrian light and people don't wait for the pedestrian light. Then you have a green light where pedestrians are going. Invariably, the motorists will stop to give way to the pedestrian, which they have to. So the well of the junction gets jammed, and that much amount of time is wasted, say for 10-15 seconds. So people following traffic rules is a given. I mean, you presume that people will follow traffic rules. Again, rain, which is in nobody's control. Right? Rain automatically causes people to drive cautiously, what you call defensive driving. What general speed would have been 50 kilometers per hour will then reduce to about, say, 20 kilometers per hour, which is natural. The other thing which happens with rain is that people shifting to a car or a cab that day as opposed to driving in a two-wheeler. So more cars come on that day.
So there's more congestion.
Yeah, there's more congestion. All these things play into this thing. So just saying that we are using AI for this will not go unless all the other things are also met. So how AI helps is that it optimizes time. It is very rule-based, and instead of seeing through your eye, saying that, oh, the congestion length is this much. If you have all the signals talking to each other, communicating with each other, we know how many vehicles are passing through a particular point in time. We exactly know how many are going to land up. Right? So based on that, we can make some really good decisions and optimize this thing. And even if you are able to save 10 seconds every cycle, that gets added to the next cycle, right? That means it moves faster. So in that sense, we can do. But otherwise, if infrastructure is not in place, like they say there's a bottleneck, no amount of AI is going to solve that problem. That bottleneck has to be eased through infrastructural developments. So that needs to improve. All cities today are grappling with the issue that your population and vehicle population are growing at geometric progression, whereas your infrastructure is growing at arithmetic progression. That's the thing. In the last 10 years, 2013 to 2023, we exactly doubled the vehicle population in Bangalore. We have 56 lakhs in 2013. We are 1.12 crores in 2023. We'll reach 1.2 crores at the end of this year. So, and next 10 years, imagine 2.4 crore vehicles. So, can the infrastructure grow at that pace? Certainly not.
Yeah, so how would we then address this? So, doesn't that mean then traffic is just going to keep increasing?
Yeah, so I think the ultimate solution would be adoption of public transport. In Bangalore city, I think we have been slow to adopt public transport apart from our bus transport system. Our metro also is a very recent thing as opposed to, say, a Kolkata or a Mumbai local or a Delhi metro. Right? So, but it's catching up. I think it's end of the day, if I see two challenges in Bangalore. One is the monsoon management. When it rains, congestion is very high. The other is peak hours. So what we need to go towards is if public can be forced or encouraged to use public transport for the commute to work and back. So peak hour is that people are going to their office and in the evening are coming back to home. And for everything else, we can use our private vehicle. Then I think we'll be able to manage, because right now non-peak hours is absolutely fine and we don't face that kind of a thing. But peak hours is the challenge. So going forth, when the K-ride, metro, bus, the systems improve, or as the advancement happens in terms of infrastructure, if adoption of these things happen for the commute to work, I think we'll be able to sustain. Otherwise, it's unsustainable. I think we'll have to wait longer hours, longer time to our travel to work. And what happens with the adoption of metro is that in Delhi, a lot of two-wheelers shifted to metro. Bangalore is a two-wheeler city. 70% of our vehicle population is two-wheelers. So even if 20%, 25% of the two-wheelers adopt to metro, that's a huge change in the commute. Basically, it's an urban mobility issue. So we need to look at it holistically in terms of infrastructure, public transport, traffic, private vehicles, how we are able to do. Then once public transport is available, then you can go for congestion tax and all those other things, surge pricing and all that. So, or internal tolls, like how other modern cities have. But I think that the given for that would be a good, robust public transport system, which we are on the way of becoming. So far, it doesn't cater to all the needs of most of the public. Once we have a good reach of metro with suburban rail coming in, I think that will be good.
Can a fully autonomous vehicle drive through Bengaluru roads, like say a level 5 autonomous?
I hope so. But see, it's a larger question in mind. See, do you require a level 5 vehicle is my question. Right? The societal needs will push any innovation or technological advancements or the need for that. For example, see in the US and Canada, where there is a dearth of drivers for heavy goods vehicles, especially those long trailers and trucks, right?
Yeah.
That's where they're going for level 4, level 5 automation there. I think there's no dearth of drivers here. I think, and would you spend so much for a level 5 vehicle? Is another question, right? So I think societal needs are also need to be taken into account. But yeah, I think why not, if a level 5 autonomous car is there with sufficient inputs through radar, lidar, whatever, computer vision, whatever it is, I think it will be able to drive. I think since it's learning, it will also learn good and bad behavior. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
To navigate through our roads.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. So it is going to happen, but then again, would you require it is the question. And I don't think the adoption will be that much because one is it's very cost prohibitive. Second, I think it's easier to hire a driver and have a level 3, which gives a driver assist and gives more impetus to road safety rather than automation.
A little on the accident statistics that happen in Bangalore. So I have a question. Does more traffic means less accidents because your vehicles are not able to move or they're not able to break the road?
You would think that, but it's not true. See, the causative factors of accidents are a little different. What are the top causative factors of accidents in Bangalore? One is overspeeding. You'd think Bangalore moves at 15 kilometers per hour on an average. How can they meet in an accident? But we have high-speed corridors. We have like the Nice Road. We have the Electron City Road. We have the outer ring road between Nayandhalli and Gorguntepalya. We have the Bellary Road, the airport road, the new airport road. They're all high-speed corridors. And if you see and analyze these crashes in these corridors, like the Bellary corridor sees about 90 crashes. It constitutes about 10 to 11% of our fatalities in a year. Nice Road was giving about 40 fatalities in a year. Electron City gives about 55 to 60 this thing. So if you just take these 4 roads, you have what 250 accidents, and our total accidents is about 800 and 850. So they constitute about 40% of our just these 4 roads, right?
Okay.
So the causative factor is speeding, right? So the other is drink and drive, right? 33% of our self accidents where the vehicle did not crash into any vehicle, they just crashed into a tree, skidded themselves, hit against the barrier, is 33% was due to drink and drive. They are found to be having a blood alcohol content above the legal permissible limit. Right? So the causative factors of accident is a little different.
Okay.
I think accidents will keep happening as long as you have bad driving behavior, don't have adherence to safety rules. The other thing is the fatality ratio is little high. So if an accident happens, what preventive measures have you taken to reduce the injury? If you look into that, vast majority of our accidents are two-wheelers. Naturally, vehicle population 70%. Our two-wheeler accidents are about 72-73%, which is true. But how many of those 72% are wearing helmets? And in the accidents, if you analyze, 40% were not wearing helmets. So what could have been, the death could have been prevented. It could have been reduced to an injury. But we couldn't save because the person did not wear a helmet. So it's again, if you look into what measures that you take, what safety behavior you have, whether wearing a seat belt, helmet, not jumping a red light, I think all those factors contribute to accidents. So accidents will come down with a gamut of operations. Road safety is not just speed alone or congestion alone. Road safety, you look into engineering aspects, you find out whether there is any hazards in the road, whether it's any turnings are there. Enforcement, like for example, in Nice Road, we started enforcing speed. In the airport roads, we started enforcing speed. Accidents have automatically come down this year, right? Because people are, instead of driving at 120, 140, they're at 80. If you ask any cab driver, will he go above 80 in this thing, he will say no on our airport road, right? Because of enforcement. Then there's awareness, we try and make people aware. There's somebody waiting for you back at home. Just think about that. Wear a helmet. Simple things. These are, if you wear a helmet, wear a chin strap, right? Clasp this thing. Wear a seat belt. Don't use a mobile phone. Simple things which we take for granted. Right? So I think unless we look at all these things, accidents will not come down. And if you look at the vulnerable group in Bangalore city, it's about 72% is two-wheelers, about 22% is pedestrians. So 94% are just these two category of this thing. This year, what we have been able to bring down pedestrian deaths. through pedestrian guardrails, forcing them to use a skywalk wherever feasible, ensuring that they are channelized, giving a HRPC where people move so that the vehicle speed reduces, using medians, high-rise medians in this thing. So in pedestrian deaths in certain high pedestrian death areas have come down to zero almost, which is a good thing. But two-wheelers, we again need to do a lot more to reduce that. But this year we have, I would say we are little less compared to last year. So that's a good thing. But if you see historically, Bangalore city in 1993 had about 600 fatalities. The vehicle population was about 6 lakhs. In 2023, vehicle population was what, 1.1 crore, right? So it's about 17-18 times that. Fatalities were 800.
Okay.
So your vehicle population grew, your human population grew, but actually,
when you look at the stats,
if you take accidents per capita or per 1,000 vehicles, it has drastically come down.
Okay, so that is a positive sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's
if you take over a period of 30 years, the highest fatalities happened in Bangalore in 2003. We had 1,000 fatalities, 9,000 accidents, 10,000 was the thing. 2003 to 2023, probably vehicle population was 25 lakhs then, 4 times less, 25%. Whereas here, last year it was 800 plus another about 5,000.
Okay.
Reduced by half when your human population increased by 4 times. So I think per capita it is reduced, and it is reducing. But I think we still have to do a lot more to reach the goal of the saying that we will cut down accidents by 50% by 2030.
Got it. And would AI assist in that to get the...
Yeah, I think AI, especially in the automation happening at the car level, right, is going to help. But where it needs to be implemented is in the bike. I think two-wheelers are the most vulnerable class of vehicles for accidents. They're more prone to injuries, deaths, more accidents. And what happens post-incident, post-accident also needs importance. Like for example, you have cars which don't allow you to do a lane violation, right? If you are straying, they pull you back, right? But in two-wheelers, what needs to be done has to be seen. I think if better adoption of tech and AI happens in two-wheelers, I think the crashes will come down.
But also, like you said, I think no amount of AI and tech can solve the discipline problem, right? Like
human behavior, no.
Yeah,
no, not so much. I think it has to be inculcated from a young age. Right? Give a premium to your life.
Yeah.
That if that is inculcated first, right? Don't take it for granted. I think then everything else will follow. Is what I personally believe.
Moving on to just social media aspect, like how useful or how helpful has social media been in kind of moving this whole, the whole traffic management ahead?
If you want to engage the public, and being in traffic police, we have to engage with the public, right? Social media is a wonderful tool. I think it gives us insights as to what are the issues coming up. It gives another channel for public to contact us through X or through Insta or whatever it is. It's another medium for us to push out important messages. Say I have a traffic advisory or a particular thing, it gets pushed out. If there's a scam using, we recently released a video regarding people calling up saying you have an accident and then demanding money. So it's a scam. So we wanted to push out. And social media, you can leverage the strength, I would say, of social media, reaching thousands or millions of people instantaneously, right? And as it gets viral, obviously the issue gets picked up. People talk about it, and did you see this or whatever. So that's a very powerful messaging tool that we can use. So and it helps people to connect with us as well. If there's a parking issue, somebody's, there's a road rage incident, I think first people don't dial 112, they put it on Twitter or whatever it is. So if you're not there, you're going to miss out on it. And that's how you connect with public. And that's how it's another medium for people to connect with us. Because if you're, why shouldn't you be able to listen to a person who probably prefers X to talk to you? Right? I think that's where we are coming from. Although we try and tell people use 112, probably a person is more adept in taking a photo or doing immediately tweeting or something like that. If it's of importance, if it's of an emergency, I think we should be able to respond to that. So our social media center here, we have a full-fledged center which works 24/7. We are active on Facebook, X, Insta, Snapchat, whatnot. And we try and respond to those queries, what issues they're facing. It also helps us gives an insight regarding anything is good or bad, like a sentiment analysis on this thing. So we see a lot of things. I mean, whole gamut of operations is there.
Yes.
So social media is a good tool to have. And if you are not active on social media, or if you don't use social media, or you use it to its full potential, I think you're left out and you're left behind. I think you're the worse for it. See, I think any technology has good and bad aspects of it. Now, if you are using social media and it occupies your full day, I think it's a waste of your productive day. But if you're going to do it for something useful and it helps you, I think it's a good thing to have. So that's where we are at. I think we want to leverage the power of social media. We want to be able to, connect with people. We want people to connect with us, give them another platform, another channel to connect with us.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about social media.
Got it. And also, but at the same time, you would also see a lot of tweets which are irrelevant, right? Like a lot of them just post something out of anger or something, like saying, hey, this is not working. So from the social media team, they have to also deal with a lot of this noise, right? So actual problems, would that be kind of like shadowed because of
I think our social media
frustrations?
team here at the center is quite well trained to understand what are the trends. We are using AI in that as well to give us pick out and scrape data which is actually relevant using keywords and all that.
Okay.
So we do see that. At the station level, at our staff are also screening for what is pertaining to their station, where we can take immediate response. A lot of people tag me as well. So I mean, the amount of people tag me, I even if I sit on it entire day, I'll not be able to respond, right? So there's a team which looks into all those tags as well. So yes, there is a lot of noise. I mean, a lot of people give their opinion, comments, criticisms, but that's their perspective of it. I don't think we should, wish away that. I think it's going to be a part of that. You have to live with it. And I would say that there are always some constructive criticisms also. And if we can try and convince them our version of it or how we look at it, it's very important. For example, a person who comes on a signal where his arm of the signal always gets lesser time, right? He'll be annoyed by giving preference to the other arm of the junction, right? But he doesn't understand that when we see from a holistic Bangalore perspective, for me, giving preference to the other thing is more important because more vehicles are coming. So he would probably tweet and say, always, why are you doing this or whatever, or there's always parking here, or these guys are doing. It also helps us, a lot of people also help us in enforcing rules. Like somebody charging excess fare in an auto, somebody doing a footpath riding or something, which are really bad behaviors, which we should curb. People do tweet and we do take action. So that helps us in crowdsourcing violations as well.
Because some of the tweets are quite interesting, and even the Bengaluru City Police Twitter handle is, kind of reaching out to the younger population also with their witty tweets, the pop culture reference. I think a lot of
so
that
yeah,
also
I think
happens.
You have to be relevant, right? So it's like I think I come from a generation which reads a newspaper in the morning. I don't know how many people actually see a physical paper, right? Many would have their tablets and would get their digital versions. Some would rely on WhatsApp for their daily dose of information. Some people would rely on their Twitter handles, what they're following or this thing to rely on information. So if you're not able to create content and message it in a format that a person would read, I think he's left out. You'll not be able to get his attention. Right? Our whole idea is to get a person's attention. And to what? Towards good driving behavior. I think all the tweets, even if whether it's witty, not witty, I mean, whether it's very formal, the creatives are meant to ensure that the person reads it and hopefully follow it. So I think we need to also cater to, so Facebook has its own age group which reads, Twitter has its own age group, Insta has its own age group, which is the younger generation. So we have to be on Instagram. Snapchat is there. I think the latest generation of college going kids use that. Probably something else will come up now, which we have to do. So if you want to be relevant, you have to create content in the right platform, in the right way, so that it reaches out to them. So that's what they are trying to do.
Any future initiatives or projects that Bangalore Traffic is working on the AI front?
Oh yeah. So we are trying, like I said, with the drones we're trying to do. We are trying to crowdsource the safe city cameras. The safe city cameras were actually meant for crime prevention and law and order maintenance. So, but we have 9,000 cameras. So we were thinking, can we use the power of these cameras to create an AI engine at the back end and use that for violation detection, traffic management, traffic counting, because these are there at all the junctions. Imagine if I can get the traffic out at each junction, I'll exactly know how traffic is moving in Bangalore city. So we can do digital twin of Bangalore city. I mean, next couple of years, the whole idea is to go towards a digital twin. And imagine doing a digital twin for Bangalore. It will be amazing, right? So we are trying to do that. The first step is to build the mobility network using the cameras. That's what we are trying to do. So we are trying to count and classify. It's called automatic traffic and counting and classification at these junctions, right? We're doing that. Secondly, we are trying to do violation detection as well using those cameras. We're able to do. Third, we are trying to using our body-worn cameras. If I go to a scene of crime, can it take the video and give us sort of a digital panchnama? Like it'll annotate all the things that it sees in this thing, right? So there'll be something cool to have, because so that's like when we go to a scene of crime, we record what all is there, right? So
this would take care of
it will take like a 360 this thing
and tell
detect,
like
what all is there, so that we don't miss out on anything. And with little bit of LLM, probably it'll give us a digital panchnama, right?
Yes.
So we're trying to work on that. It's still far away, but I think we have made the first this thing. We are trying to use AI to understand the existing FIRs which are there. We are trying to pick out keywords and trying to find out where, to go in depth into accidents, to understand where accidents, why they are happening, especially in our charge sheets, because they are all independent investigation reports. If we feed that to a LLM based mechanism and try to make insights out of it, that's what we are trying to do. That would be the next thing of Astram.
Basically having an LLM to solve your queries related to any old cases and stuff.
Yeah, we are trying to use AI in our 112 center. If you dial 112, we are trying to understand what language is being by the way you say hi, hello, whatever, and in a few words. See, Bangalore is a cosmopolitan city, right? Say you're a French citizen who's come here who does not know any other language. We don't have responders in French, but if you can understand what you're speaking and speak back to you using a translator in between, which is AI based, it'll be something worthwhile, right? Because it's an emergency and you would require. So in Bangalore is a cosmopolitan city. We probably right now cater to about 8-9 languages. But imagine if you can cater to all the Indian languages, it'll be something. And just by your first sentence, we're able to analyze what you have and then appropriately respond to you. And handle the crisis. I think that's what we are trying to do. I think that's in the works. So these are the things we're trying to do with AI right now.
Yeah, so that's a lot of very interesting initiatives that Bangalore Traffic Police is working on.
Not just Bangalore. The command center is doing on 112. We are doing something in traffic. I think always we are trying to innovate.
Absolutely. And now with the new year coming up, I think that is the most busiest time, or I would say stressful time for you, I would say.
Not really. I mean, I would say it's like any other day. Probably that night would be more.
The New Year's
Eve and other things. But it's like any other thing. We want everybody to have a good time, but responsibly. I mean, I think we shouldn't hamper anybody's thing. We don't want to. But I think, again, like, the saying goes that your right to swing your arm ends at the other person's nose, right? So I think if you're responsible, I think it's good enough.
And just one last bit on your professional journey. You are an engineer.
Yeah.
That's right. So can you tell me how did you move from that to where you are today?
You know what? I always followed my brother. So my brother went to this school. I wanted to go to that school. He went to that. I went to the same college, took the same stream. He went to engineering college. I went to the same college, took the same stream.
Where in Bangalore?
In Bangalore. I studied in RV College of Engineering.
Okay.
In electronics. But then somewhere in I think the 3rd or 4th year of engineering, my father was also cop. So I thought, okay, let me do this. So I got into a decent job. So I had moved out to Delhi and I studied for the exam as well. But then I couldn't do both. So I quit my job. I always wanted to do this. So quit my job, studied for this, and then I got into this service. So I always wanted to do this from the age I was about 20, 21. I always wanted to do so. I was lucky enough to get when I was 25. So I think it's been quite an interesting thing, and I had no second thoughts or this thing about the job.
So you're a proper Bangalorean. You've done your schooling, everything. You're from here.
Right from schooling days, I'm here in Bangalore.
Okay, that's very lovely.
And it's nice to work here as well.
And just one last question: do you use ChatGPT?
Not so much. I use it in a different way. Like, for example, I ask the question like, how can I improve Hepal junction, right? It'll be kind of cool to understand.
And
what
do you
we
get
understood.
valuable insights from it?
Not yet. Not yet. I think in terms of specific queries, I don't think. I think generally it is quite good to chat with. Specifically, technically, I think a lot more has to go in for it to work. But I think it's a cool thing to have. I think I can use ChatGPT to talk to another person whose language I don't know at all, right? If say you can speak Chinese only, and I can use ChatGPT to speak to, and you can understand and you can communicate to me. I think it's a very cool thing to do. Probably, but later on, I don't know. Maybe our staff so would not be required. Somebody for a dictation, or probably I'll just say I need a letter for this.
And then it's great. All right. Thank you, sir, so much for taking the time. I know you're a very busy person. You've been getting many calls as well. But thank you so much. And as a Bangalorean, I mean, I also feel it's wonderful to see how the city has been leveraging AI and tech to actually solve the problems of traffic and other stuff. So thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. Yeah.